Okay, so now I'm ready to go back over this and try to start making it better. And I think I'm going to work from the bottom up again. That's so unusual for me, but that's how I started it. And I just feel like that's the first thing I want to do to make those yellow tulips better. And I think I want to try to show that the front of them is a little darker. I didn't really notice that before, but that the fronts are a little darker and then the tops are the lightest part. So yellow is a tricky color. It's a color I love to paint because it is a tricky color. You can't exactly just have light yellow and dark yellow because yellow is so much the color of light, sunlight, that if you just do light yellow and dark yellow, it won't really read as shadow. So you have to really look at the shadow on yellow things and try to figure out what colors it's made out of. And so in a weird way, sadly, one time I had a student and she made the most beautiful lemons ever saw. And I asked her how she did it. And she told me she used orange, green, and violet. And it just works so well that it's been really hard for me ever since to find anything that works better, which is right there the problem with learning something, is that then you're just tempted to use it because it works. So I don't know, part of me dislikes learning anything because I think it also kind of stifles creativity, but part of me is thrilled that I know how to make a shadow that looks good on a yellow thing. So I don't really know, and like I said, I don't really think about stuff like this, but it's a overcast day. That means the sky is warm and there's a lot of violet in the sky. So on an overcast day, your lights could be cool and your shadows might be warmer than you're used to seeing. So it's not to make a rule about it, but it's kind of nice to know that your shadows might be warmer and to kind of consider that because it's always one or the other. You never, hardly ever, I mean, I don't want to say ever, but it would be unusual to have a situation where the lights were warm and the shadows were warm, or that the lights were cool and the shadows were cool. It's usually, if the lights are warm, the shadows are cool by comparison, and if the shadows are warm, then it's the lights that are cool. Okay, so I kind of like that. Like I said, I don't have much light and shadow on this day, so just being able to put in some light and shadow makes me feel happier. And then I'm going to come back and just start painting in between these guys. Like always, I want to see how little I have to do to tell the story of what these flowers are or what anything in my picture is. I don't want to think about, in my head, I don't want to be thinking about, oh, now I'm painting tulips, now I'm painting stems, now I'm painting the sky, now I'm painting the grass. What I always want to be thinking about is I'm painting these shapes between these other shapes. I'm trying to study, how this looks compared to that. I'm painting, as Wolf Kahn said, things that don't have names. And a really good thing about painting things that don't have names is that you can't tell yourself you can't paint them. It's very easy to tell yourself, oh, I can't paint tulips, I can't do it. But it's harder to tell yourself something like, oh, I can't paint these funny little spots. Or, oh, I can't paint these funny little darks in between these colors. So if you can just keep thinking, or not thinking, about what you're doing. Okay, so I want something here that's a little different. I just wanted to have a few more out there on the edge to... And I'm trying to think about breaking up the space, not making all the spaces equal, but that's hard. And I might just have to come back. That's my tactic, come back later and, whoa. Wow, and I'd really like to see how these are going to look. So I'm just going to put them, these stems here, I'm just going to put them in charcoal just so I can kind of see if it's going to be what I think it is. So yeah, I think I'm going to really like it. And I'm going to put a little more of the path in there. Yeah, so how little do I have to do to tell my story? I don't know. I was at the Met the other day, and a lot of paintings just didn't really do anything for me that I saw. And so now I'm really wondering about that. Yeah, so I'm wondering about it, but I don't really have an answer. I don't want to be just an illustrator, just someone who's copying what they see in nature. So that's too much. Yeah, that's way too much. So I've got to find something else. Too bright. It was too light. I don't want to just be copying. But on the other hand, I've never felt like I had any imagination whatsoever. But I want to show somebody, I guess, or I want to show myself, really. That's the truth of it. I'm trying to show myself something I don't know already. And you can see how the longer you paint, the harder that is to do. So every painting shows you what it is you don't know. And that can be really frustrating and discouraging, but that's just kind of how it is. So I'm painting to learn. Also, I'm having to hold my pastels so weird because I slammed my middle finger in the door, which was really stupid. All right, so I want to put some more greens into, or some greens, I don't have any greens in there yet. I want to put some greens into that too. I'm trying to have not a marching band sort of rhythm here with my strokes. I'm trying to have more of a syncopation with spacing, the spacing varied. Oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't notice that before, but some of these kind of stick out into the path in different ways, so that might be kind of nice. So I'm still working on color and value, but I am starting to move into my, what is my, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth tool of painting, and that's texture. So I'm making my strokes follow the form. So this, the verticals, I make it follow the verticals. On the tops, maybe I go flatter. On the ground here, I'm going flatter. Yeah, let's see if we can put some grass in the path too while we're at it. Or we're not calling it grass, we're calling it little shapes of green. I might have to spray it before I can really do it very well. So texture, that's what I'm working on now. So you can see more texture in things that are closer to you and less texture in things that are further away. So even something like this, as the path's coming closer to me, I could make more, the strokes bigger. I could actually show that there was some little darks in the grass, and I could make the strokes further apart to start to show that that's a textured situation or closer to me situation. That's you know, that's probably a little too much detail for right now, but that is your next tool. So when you're asking yourself, how come that doesn't look further away? Well, maybe it's because you made too much texture. Because it's kind of great, this photograph, you can really see how much texture you see in here in this row, but then it really starts to drop out, all the texture. So I sometimes think about it this way too, is, you know, something appealed to me when I took this photograph, although, wow, I have to say that most of the photographs I take, when I see them, I have no interest in painting them. But something appealed to me about this scene, something made me want to paint it. And if I can just kind of try to hang on to that, oh look, there's some red ones. If I can try to hang on to that idea of what it was that made me, attracted my attention, made me want to paint it, I think there's a tendency as you work on something longer is to just start putting everything you see in because there it is and you can see it. So I try not to do that. I try to keep in my mind or something what it was. And I can't even tell you what it was. I know that's really weird, but I don't know why I wanted to paint this. Like the stripes of color, that I'd never seen anything like it, that the diagonals, the way the tulips were, you know, more in focus up close, the way I could actually paint some real tulips, the shapes of the barns against the sky. I don't even know. I didn't draw this, right? Because I didn't leave room for that row of green. So if you can keep your mind, in your mind maybe, what it is you were interested in, what appealed to you in this situation, why you wanted to paint it. And then when you achieve that, you're done. And there comes a time, not yet, and usually, I mean, it definitely, to do a painting this big outdoors might take me, with no drawing, like this hardly had any drawing, so it might take me, let's say, 3 hours to do. Or, you know, my ideal thing always is to go back a second time and work on stuff. But at the end of my painting, after things are pretty accurate, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make decisions about what I want to emphasize in my painting, what I want to send back, how I want to create depth, if I want to have some things be more important than are in the distance, even if they are far away. You know, what am I going to, how am I going to finish the painting? And at that point, I quit looking at it quite so much, at the scene, and I start sort of trying to respond more to the demands of the painting. What does the painting need? But right now, what I'm just focusing on is trying to make better color, better values, better color. And not really having much luck right there. The light purples are just always seem sort of gray. And you can tell probably by looking and by the way the paper sounds that I've pretty well filled it in here. So I just need to keep going and get everything covered so I can come back and spray it. This is a matter of, like, I don't know what color to do here to... Didn't really want it that orange. It's one of the darkest colors in the painting. Alrighty. I want to get at least 2 or 3 colors everywhere before I spray it. Whoops. Yep, whoops again. Continual search for the dark blue. What happened the last time I painted this scene was I worked on it about 2 hours, and then I just liked it well enough I didn't want to work on it more. So I decided I had some other photos that I could work from, so I decided I would try to do a demonstration of the same scene and actually finish it. But it's pretty funny. Now I'm getting to this point again, and I kind of like it the way it is, and I kind of saying to myself, why would I finish it? Like, what am I, a photographer? But I'm going to. Just felt like I needed something darker in here to make these houses show up a little more. Yeah, that's kind of a problem right there with the drawing. And maybe I will take that little side red building out just because of... Did not mean to pick that up. Oh, and it didn't really work in here either. I somehow jumped. Okay. Yeah, that's not what I wanted either. Okay. All right, so I think it's at a place where I could stop and spray it. And then come back and work on it another day. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them and I will get back to you as quickly as I can. Thank you so much for watching.